Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Game Woven. We took a little break, but hey, if you're just catching up and it's like a year from now, you're not going to know that. You just go straight from one episode to the next one. But for those of you who like to stay current, sorry about that. Moving on. This week we will be playing I'm Sorry, Did You Say Street Magic? I'm Sorry, Did You Say Street Magic is a city building game. You might recognize those because we play a whole lot of them, and they're wonderful. What we will do is I'll read the opening excerpt, and then we are going to be building ourselves a new city as far away from the Empire as we can possibly put it. I'm Sorry, Did You Say Street Magic is a city building story game. We take turns exploring our city. By the end of the game, we will have created a place that none of us could have imagined alone. Our agenda as players is to create a vibrant and multifaceted city, to fill that city with life and personality, and to expand on each other's ideas together. Unlike many tabletop games, I'm Sorry, Did You Say Street Magic is played without a game master or facilitator. Haha, sorry, Taro. The game goes back and forth between phases of independent and collaborative creations. At times, we will decide on certain aspects of the city as a group, but on your turn, each of us has complete control over what we add to the city. It is a lovely and very fast game. What I really like about it is it jumps between levels. So what we'll do is I'll end up taking the first turn, and I get to kind of set the first major component called a compass that we're going to explore. And then each one of us is going to dive into the city and create a landmark, create a person, or create a neighborhood. And then we're all just going to kind of fiddle with it until it's fun. One of the important things is that everything that we mess with is going to be slightly magical in some way or another, which is super cool because we wanted to do kind of a weird magical city. The setup for this, there is some steps to set up the foundations of the city. We've been talking about this privately, and we've actually already played a little bit in this city when we did, this is a game about fishing, which we might release that episode a little later. So we've kind of already got the basics. What we're going to do is we are going to set this in the kingdom of Tarsig, in the mountains far, far on the western side of the continent. We think it's, if you remember the mountain range that Nairburn is at one end of, the eastern end of, this is at the western end of that mountain range, brushed right up against the ocean. The city of Tarsig, well, the kingdom of Tarsig, and then the city that sort of is the major city-state of Tarsig, is inside the caldera of a semi-dormant volcano that is full of water and always a little bit warm, if I recall correctly.
Hey, Ben.
Yeah?
Just in case someone doesn't know, what's a caldera?
The caldera is the innie part of the volcano. You know what it is, though. You laughed, but that was a pretty clear image.
Yep. Oh, it's a clear image, all right. I don't like it. No.
Tarsig, as we had established together, is not a great place. It is highly magical, but also exceedingly autocratic. I think we've been calling it a kingdom, but it really could be any form of government that sucks.
I was unironically going to ask. I don't remember calling it a kingdom. I was going to ask if it's a kingdom.
I wasn't there, so I only kind of half remember what was going on after editing the shenanigans.
It's like a kleptocratic or maybe plutocratic oligarchic republic, maybe?
I don't know. It's a company.
Whatever you're about to say, I'm about to ask you to define it.
Yeah.
Rich people elect the leaders.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We hate it.
The rich people and owner class runs Tarsig.
It's real life.
Gross.
Yeah, and the people that live there are kind of stuck in that really nasty company town thing where they only barely get enough money to get by and can never get ahead. Occupying the actual caldera where all the water is are we describe them as sort of oil platforms or oil derricks, and that's where a lot of the city is, but then there's also people living around the edge of the volcano and then down into the hills. And the place sucks. It is run by brutal corporate bosses, and they extract people's work in order to create magical trinkets that they then trade just about the continent wide. some of which are magical weapons. One of the most important things that we came up about Tarsig is that casting magic as if it were a spell, like a normal spell, is highly illegal and strictly controlled. So any kind of magic that you do want to mess with has to be in the form of some kind of thematic trinket. So if you want to use like a communication stone, you have to talk into like the little mouth stone. It's all got to be like that, is the rule in Tarsig. That's the basics. Oh, one cute thing. If one player is facilitating the game, that is me, they should lead. Otherwise, the player who most recently rode public transport should go first. Who would that be?
Lex.
Would it be Lex?
Yeah,
That's right. Lex lives in a real city. The other thing is that, so when you play this around the table, you play it with index cards. So you'll take the little locations and other doodads that you make, and you'll create index cards.
Yeah, I got a Google Doc that I dropped into the chat here, and I'm rocking and rolling on that a little bit.
To get us started, we set the tone. The first part of creating our city is establishing its tone, the color and texture of the setting we want to explore. As a table, let's decide on 3 adjectives that will set the mood for our city. We should pick at least one from the list below, but we don't have to limit ourselves from these options. I'm not going to read the whole list, but there's like, I don't know, 50 adjectives. What we do is we find 3 adjectives to get the conversation going about how Tarsig feels.
So because this is such a rules-like game, I feel like we just pick adjectives from the English language, not from the list.
We can. We should probably start with one from the list, though.
Gotcha, okay.
I have one jumping out at me, but does anyone else have one jumping out at them?
I will...
I'm not looking at the list, but I do have one that's just the first thing that popped up in my head, which might be on the list. I don't know. Stifling.
Stifling's good.
I was thinking ruthless, which is also stifling, but stifling I feel like is way more colorful, so let's do stifling.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, also, like, they go together, but it's different vibes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Both the oppressive atmosphere of the amount of social control that's exerted is stifling, but also the heat. The lake's kind of half boiling most of the time. It's a stifling kind of heat. The one that was jumping out to me was gritty.
Gritty.
Do we like gritty for the city here?
Gritty for the city.
I don't know the dance.
Yeah,
I don't know how to hit the gritty. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I get because, like, grit tends to go with grime, and you imagine a place that has, like, a lot of fish, as well as, like, just sludge and production. It's just gross.
Then do we prefer grimy to gritty? Or are we just going to say they're the same thing in this case?
Ooh, I like grimy to gritty, actually. Like, let's do grimy instead of gritty.
See, I'm really feeling how different I am from all of you because the one that jumps out to me is bright.
No, I'm actually feeling that too, because it's very much, we're in the mountains, we're in the ocean. By all rights, this area should be gorgeous. And I anytime I picture Tarsig, it's always like really, really bright color. Is that what you were thinking, like visibly bright, or are you thinking like something else bright?
Just a lot of things. Like it gives very, I mean, I don't want to say like California vibes, but it's kind of like quasi surfer coast but island vibes.
Oh yeah.
The people don't like the corporations at all. The bulk of the people are very eclectic, happy, little, just trying to live their lives.
Well, and I'm sure that just like every place that's like this, there's the people who are basically only allowed to work and struggle, and then there is the people who are allowed to play.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want Tarsig to just be its gritty corporate overlord.
Sure. Yeah.
And some of that, like, bright, colorful can be just, like, people trying to deal with the parts of this place that suck.
Well, what you guys were saying, if you take out the industrial shenanigans, this should be like a vacation spot.
Yeah.
And then,
This should be paradise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hot springs and
Yeah.
Also, I think it's worth to kind of weave in that bit with the retail, like, hey, I got these nice bright shoes. With this being kind of a manufacturing hub, I don't know, like there's something about retail therapy, or like you can replace the fact that you don't have any free time with having stuff that is bright and colorful and kind of operates as a proxy for joy.
Mm-hmm. I also wonder if there's, like, if we were to go back in time, you know, however many hundreds or 1,000 or so years before Tarsig became, like, before Tarsig got sort of taken by the companies, people living here probably had a vibrant culture that was really heavy on recreation. Emily was talking about like surfer bro vibes. Like surfing isn't just a sport in some of the places where it comes from. Like there's a whole culture surrounding it. It's important to them, and I wonder if there's part of that as well. And maybe they've got a lot of different recreations that they do, and maybe the company doesn't like them doing those recreations because they're all dangerous. Like, you know, who's to say?
Yeah, I mean,
basically kind of like what tourists have done with Hawaii.
A little bit.
Or something like that. Like, maybe there's
I'm
elements
looking
of
at you, Dole.
All right. So we've got the Stifling, Grimey, and Bright.
Grimey, yes.
That's kind of our vibe. Once you have set the tone for the city, you are ready to move on to the next step. Before you really start exploring the city, you will begin by adding just a few cards to the table to spark everyone's imagination. We'll get around there. If one player is facilitating the game, that's me. They should lead. Otherwise, the player who most recently rode public transport should go first. Turn to the section on exploring the neighborhood and follow the instructions.
Sorry, every time you say they should lead, I hear they should leave.
I should leave. I should leave. Fuck that guy.
Bye.
No, this game doesn't have facilitators. Get out.
So, it starts with a neighborhood, is what we're establishing initially.
I don't know why I have a neighborhood in the barrel, but I do.
Well, I was going to start by putting us in. You'll get an opportunity as well. We can have.
Oh no, I'm just saying. I don't know why this neighborhood appeared in my head, fully formed, but it did.
Jot it down real quick and don't lose it. Neighborhoods are the broadest, most overarching type of cards that you can play to build your city. To explore a new neighborhood, take a blank index card and write an N on the top left corner. Give it the following three elements: a title, a reputation, and a true name. The neighborhood that I want to start with is, I think, thematically probably the most important neighborhood to have, and that is the central derrick, the central strut in basically the middle of the caldera where all of the major factories are. And I think, I have a name, well, I have a basic name for it, or at least a title. I think they call it Strut Bison. I think a lot of the struts, a lot of the major platforms are named for like very big masculine animals. Like there's like Strut Bison and Strut Stallion. And like it's very, you know what I'm saying? Like they're really
Strut Drake.
Strut Aurochs. Like, I think they're really into big workhorse animals.
I hate this place.
I...
I'm not even kidding. I hate this place so much.
Well, we got some plans.
Yeah. I explain my thoughts. How is this particular neighborhood essential to the city's existence? This is the driving horse of a lot of the manufacturing of like magical gear and items and reagents and components. Like this is where a lot of the work gets done. So this is where a ton of the workers go every day. This is where people congregate. This is where the factories are. This is where the work gets done. This is where the big smokestacks are, everything. What makes it different is, I think, it being centrally located, it gets the most heat from the caldera, and it's definitely the grimiest part. This is where like things are definitely quite dirty with various sort of industrial things, smoke, chemicals, that kind of stuff. So people, you can imagine people coming in their like yellow, like sort of yellow, like maybe even brightly colored work clothes, and then if you were to quickly like rise and set the sun, you would see them leaving the strut dirty and covered in goop and grime and stuff, heading home for the night. And then We give it a true name. So Strut Bison has a true name. Every neighborhood has a magic all its own. To confer a true name, come up with 2 or 3 descriptive sensory images that paint a clear picture of the neighborhood in your mind. Write these at the bottom of the card. True names can be tactile details of the space, but they can just as easily be metaphorical or symbolic abstractions intended to elicit an idea or personality more than a literal representation. Think poetically and play with senses.
All I'm hearing in my head is a clip from years ago of a guy just shouting, "Orange Monkey Eagle."
Oh God, that's not gonna do it. I think that might be too many.
Cognito hazard.
Grit sweat is what's coming to my head. Like, it's that sort of thing where,
Pass.
yeah.
Pass on sweat in the name.
But like that's kind of one of the central. That's kind of a defining feature of the experience of living there or of being there. The dirt sticks to you, and you come out. You know, you. I remember I was working in a facilities management company for a while, and one of the days, basically had to like sort through a whole bunch of dirty clothes in one of the John Deere foundries, and getting done with that and then washing my hands and seeing like the dirt actually like coming off in the sink. But it's just like that's the air that you're walking through.
Mm-hmm.
I would also imagine it's noisy.
Yeah. For some reason, I have this like thing going on in my head where it's like heavy lungs, heavy ears. Like heavy body parts, heavy flesh, heavy lungs, heavy ears, heavy, like it just makes you, being there just makes everything feel heavier.
Mm-hmm.
Drudgery.
Yeah, drudgery. If you recall the Phantom Toll Booth, the doldrums.
Mm-hmm.
A grimy weight. Filthy gravity. That's a bad club. That's a bad club, whatever. Yeah.
I would go there once and never again.
Yeah. Filthy gravity.
The weight of soot.
The weight of soot.
Mm-hmm.
Do we like that? I feel like everyone went ooh there. Are we feeling that?
I give it a B.
The place of grit and drudgery, or of death and drudgery. My brain went YA sci fantasy adventure title with that.
Literally. The blank of blank and blank.
Not the place, the weight of grit and drudgery.
I dig it.
Yeah.
How's that?
The names don't have to be short or anything.
No.
It's a true name. It can be a
No,
long
absolutely
one.
not. I mean, they're stealing your time to pay the rich.
Yeah, the weight of grit and drudgery is the true name
For Strut Bison.
for Strut Bison. And then what I do is I also sort of vaguely, broadly create a landmark. We don't go through the whole process of creating a landmark, but I go ahead and throw one here. So I think that Strut Bison actually has, in the middle of it, there is a gathering square. In the center of the gathering square is a giant cast iron bison statue. And that is where the bosses like gather their men and like shout at them like work orders and stuff. And so it's not like, if you were to go there during the day, you wouldn't see people like lounging and having their lunch and being happy and stuff. It's more like a mustering yard, and everything is around this bison. And so that's kind of the landmark.
If I could put something on top of that,
Yeah, lay it on me.
there's a stage set up on top of the bison. And so when that like muster is being given, when speeches are being given, they stand on top of it. They probably like design the acoustics, or the bison itself projects the voice of whoever is standing on top of the cast iron bison, so that they can be heard, not even just throughout the square, but like probably in a lot of other locations around the entirety of, where it can be amplified for the entirety of the strut.
Probably.
Yeah. And I imagine it's whenever you come into work, people like go to stand in their rows for like 15 to 20 minutes while their shift leader like gives the orders, like lays out what's expected. Remember, people, we've got to do the hard work to meet the quotas, because all the corporate nonsense, and you love this job, and we love you, and if you follow back, you're fired.
The different derricks for sure are like in competition with
Oh yeah,
Oh, God,
absolutely,
yeah.
they are.
Absolutely.
the bosses engender like a fake like frat house mentality of like, no, our derrick's the better derrick, or whatever.
Oh.
Also thought the iron bison, the steel iron bison, iron bison something.
Iron Bison.
Yeah, the iron bison sounds like I imagine, I don't know why, but like it radiates some kind of like, I don't know, like strength enhancement thing to the workers so they can do more work. And each of the derricks has a statue like that like radiates some kind of enhancement to let the workers do more work for them.
And I wonder if it's very clear if the enhancement is a real enhancement or if it just makes them feel stronger. You know, like
I don't think it actually gives them any physical advantages. It just changes their mind.
It's like a cup of coffee.
yeah.
Which is bad, because that might also be mildly addictive too.
Yeah.
Whew.
You know, like coffee.
And like coffee, it doesn't actually make you feel any, like, it doesn't make you any better. It just makes you feel it better. You're just pushing it back. You're just delaying the inevitable. And then it crashes worse when you're done.
We have set the foundation. We have our first neighborhood and we have a landmark. Once you have laid the foundation, we declare a compass. Cities are dense, packed with stories stacked atop each other. In order to give each round focus, one player chooses a compass, the story moving in the same thematic direction, at least until the next round. Anything can be a compass. A neighborhood, a landmark, a resident, an institution, a lineage, an object, a broad theme or concept as big or as small as you want. A compass can be an idea that already exists in play or something that you want to make up right on the spot. And what we'll do is we'll keep track of each round's compass. And so I get to set the compass, and what we'll do is now we will start rotating around the table and people will start doing things in alignment with that compass. And for this very first one, I want to focus the compass on the juxtaposition, if that's possible. Now we've done two, we've got many things are juxtaposed. I would love to have the compass be the juxtaposition between productivity and dissatisfaction, or productivity and growing unrest. The tension between those two things. We can also just focus it on just straight up productivity, that like that kind of stuff if you think that's simpler. But we can thread in a sense of unease would be very cool. Everyone feel good about that compass?
Yeah.
I like toxic productivity. Just keep doing the work. Don't worry if you feel tired. If something hurts, just take some pain medicine and keep going.
Go and kiss the bull.
Yeah, it could be that. It could also be, people plotting behind the scenes. It could also be, worker sabotage. Like there's a lot of components to that. I kind of made it pretty broad.
Yeah. Ooh, there could be workers from other derricks attempting to sabotage other derricks because they don't realize that the whole competition is rigged.
Or there could be workers from the different derricks getting together to try and unionize.
Scandal. Yes, they could be doing that.
Unacceptable.
I love
So
They should
what-
be doing that.
They should be. They ought to. You, dear listener, should be doing that too. So what we'll do, starting with the player who declared the compass. Oh, geez, this is a whole lot of me. I've already talked enough. Starting with the player to the left of the person who declared the compass. That's going to be Zad.
Oh, cool.
Every player takes a turn adding a new card to the city. The cards can be in three rough categories: explore a neighborhood, which is kind of what we just did by creating Strut Bison; visit a landmark, which is what we did with the big bull, the big bison, the big iron bison; or meet a resident, which can be done a few different ways. You can either describe the resident, or we can even do a little vignette. You can go through a day in their life. Like there's a lot of different things you can do with the resident. But then each one will have their own little card. what you want to do is you want to link it to the compass best you can. For each of the entries, the possible entries, explore a neighborhood, visit a landmark, meet a resident, there's things that we do. So each one has its own little page that you can go through and figure out what you want to do with that. So Zad, explore a neighborhood, visit a landmark, or meet a resident.
I think for this little vignette, we are going to visit a landmark. Namely, we are going to visit the Iron Bison.
Ah, okay.
Just gonna... I mean, hey, it's right there, and I think that it is a great way to highlight that tension within the productivity. So, landmarks are the second highest tier of cards that you can add to build your city. They must be played within a pre-existing neighborhood card. We've got it in the on-strut bison. Give it the following 3 key elements: a title, an address, and a true name. So title, simple enough, is the Iron Bison. Since we did just talk a lot about it, I'm not going to go too much more into detail. But I think to touch on our themes of grime and brightness, I kind of want to get sort of a camera, we're getting a sort of top down from an angle from one of the buildings that surrounds this central square, where you can see the bison itself a little bit. This thing's massive. It's the size of, man, is it the size of an SUV or is it the size of a small bus?
Small bus. Oh yeah. Small bus. Oh yeah.
Huge. And I think one thing that's really apparent as you're looking is the ground surrounding it almost gleams. And we see 3 guys or 3 people who have deck scrubbers and are scrubbing this additional soot off of the square surrounding the bison and almost making it reflective in this clear coastal mountain sunlight we're just going to call it the late morning. So yeah, that is the Iron Bison. For an address, it can be a literal address. Street names are another tool to reveal details about the world. Could be something more poetic. So for the address, it is going to be the heart of Strut Bison, I guess, right?
I was thinking something maybe a little bit more corporate and clinical, like 8-point square.
8-point square.
Maybe so. So if you imagine it, that's where all the streets meet.
Mm-hmm.
These derricks, are they squares in shape?
Are they octagons?
Are they? I have no idea. What do we want?
Well, if they're squares, it's just a grid, and you can just give it a grid number name.
Right.
Just H5 or whatever.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea that do we like them being hexagons, pentagons, or octagons, each one of these derricks?
We did a hexagon once. We can do a different shape.
I think we do an octagon, and I wonder if some of them maybe are slightly different shapes. And that is all
the square itself is not a square, it's an octagon. And what did you call it? 8-point?
Yeah, 8-point square. They still call it a square.
8-point square. I'm actually going to leave the heart of Strut Bison on there because I like that. It is the heart where things really get moving. And then a true name. Oh, hey, actually though, similar to a neighborhood, each landmark has a true name of its own. However, this should be even more specific.
Oh my.
Yeah. Does this landmark match its neighborhood style or push against it? I think it does a little bit of both. The elements that push against it are fastidiously maintained and almost aggressively so. What makes it irreplaceable?
What makes it irreplaceable? It'd be so much work. It's huge.
It is quite literally.
They've tied so much of their
irreplaceable.
identity to this being Strut Bison, and this is the bison. That if they try and get rid of it, they're like, well, where are we? What is this?
Everybody who works on Strut Bison has a little bison head pin. And when you've put in your 20 years of service, instead of getting a gold watch or whatever it is, they give you this little cast iron figurine statue of the bison that you can keep on your mantelpiece in your cramped apartment somewhere else.
And nothing else.
Wow. Thanks.
Thanks, I hate it.
Well, now I just know that there's an underground black market trading these pins so that you can gain access to different struts.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool as shit.
So, this is one that I come up with. I give it a true name on my own, right?
It's generally assumed that everyone gets to weigh in.
But you're the one who chooses what actually sticks because it's yours.
Yeah, but we're all here. We're all here to support you.
So,
I
I'm
mean,
thinking the
we
grinding
weren't gonna
heart.
shut up anyway, so.
What are you thinking for a true name? Because I also have a twist, but I want to hear yours first.
The grinding heart of Strut Bison.
The grinding heart of Strut Bison.
Because I don't want beating, I don't want pulsing necessarily. I want something a little bit more industrial.
Mm-hmm.
I did have a thought, but this might be something more that the corporate people call it, is the symbol of persistence. Or something like that. Like, that's what they call it. Because bisons roam.
Yeah, and we talked about how the true name is different from, like, person to
Mhm.
person or something. Which, by the way,
Mhm.
defeats the purpose of the name true name, but we're moving on.
Magic is weird.
Magic's weird.
I also had a twist like that, Bree, that I wanted to kind of throw out. And it kind of goes along with, so Zad earlier said that true name magic is definitely illegal in this city.
Oh, yeah.
But they also know that they have to, most places like this have to give you a little steam valve for resistance. And so the corporate folk claim that the bison's true name is the freedom to prosper.
Hate it. That's really good, but I hate it.
Unfortunately, my face says it all, and y'all can't see it.
Yeah. It fits, though, especially because, like, bison roam.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, bison, they're free. They're out on the plains. The freedom, the bison, the true name of the bison is the freedom to prosper. And that's what you have here.
The freedom of prosperity.
The freedom of prosperity. That's even more gross and corporate.
Yeah, I know. It's like, no, you don't actually have the freedom to prosper, but we have the freedom of prosperity.
But like anyone who like knows true name magic knows the actual true name is the grinding heart of Strut Bison.
Yeah, and we're going to put that in brackets. We're going to put the freedom of prosperity in brackets here, just to connote what the corporate one is.
Bree, what did you say was your version of the corporate one?
Symbol of persistence.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
symbol
the
of,
symbol of persistence.
like maybe the corporate people actually see it as that, and the workers actually see it as the grinding heart, but then the corporate people tell the working people that it's the freedom of prosperity. Like there's a lot of lying. It's many layers of naming and lying going on.
It's not lying, it's just omitting who it's the truth for.
True.
That's pretty tight.
The will to persistence.
The will to persistence. Oh, jeez. Ugh.
Okay, so it's got 3 true names depending on how you look at it. There's the grinding heart of Strut Bison, the freedom of prosperity, and the will to persistence.
Yes.
Okay.
I hate
All
it.
right.
It makes me so mad.
We either don't name things, or it has 3 names at minimum.
Name the shit out of them.
I mean, it's part of the game. We're supposed to do that.
That's true.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay. Is there anything else that you do for the landmark here, Zach?
No, that is it.
Then let us move on to Lex. Would you like to explore a neighborhood, visit a landmark, or meet a resident?
If I give you a person, can you help me tie them back to productivity?
Oh,
Absolutely.
you know we can, baby. Who are we working with?
They are one of the many alley cats in the city.
Kitty!
We'll get there.
I'm already in.
I guess alley cat for this specific scene can be a title.
What's the alley cat look like?
Oh, just a black cat with maybe like a spot of white that almost looks like a bow tie on his chest.
Does he look scraggly, rough and tumble, like he's living large on all the fish?
Lean and clean.
looks dirty and like he lives on the street, but still cleaner than you would expect for a cat that lives on the street, which the wiser citizens would know to look out for, as the cat makes its way through like the alleyways and the dimly lit streets, finding some worker like on a, which for him is a lunch break, but it's like the night shift, so it's like 2 a.m.
2 in the morning, yeah.
The cat walks up to the guy who's like eating some kind of fish sandwich, because there's a lot of fish around here for a call we established. Plenty of fish in the caldera. So you can have a fish sandwich. The cat approaches. The guy offers the cat like part of his sandwich, trying to be nice, and the cat snatches the pin off like his coat he left on the side and runs off.
Okay.
And then we find the cat making its way back to the city, pin in, I was about to say in hand, you know. It makes it back to like an abandoned building full of other cats, all of which are bringing many a stolen thing back.
No.
Cat thieves. Cat burglars.
And I think that's when they turn back into people.
Oh!
I knew it.
I was ready for them to just be fully cats, and they operate entirely on a kleptocratic economy.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
They are like the street kids of Tarsig.
Ooh.
Who this place used to be very close to nature, and I think they're still finding some nature magic around, but it's like tainted by the urban sprawl. And like in a city, what's the apex predator than a house cat, you know?
Yeah. So what vignette do you want to do? Do you want us all to be amps? Are we doing a cat send up here, or what do you want from us?
That's a good fucking question.
Can I be the orange cat?
As if there's only one.
As if there's only one. Because this specific thing came from my head where I'm like, why would a magical place have superstitions about avoiding black cats? And this is what they came up with.
Because they will steal things from you.
Because they're actually people who steal from you.
They will steal your heart and then your wallet.
So yeah.
That the higher ups suspect, but the people who are lower are just like, oh no, my pin is gone. Or, oh no, your pin is gone. Oh no, whatever will you do?
So I think the vignette will be the cat we followed, Jack. They, them, maybe like a 15, 16-year-old kid who adds the pin to like the pile of things they've stolen today that they can sell later to feed everyone else. And around this place, some of the cats are actually cats, and the rest are like orphan kids who found some kind of like almost druidic connection with all the like the stray cats in the city.
So wait, did you just say that they learned how to turn into cats from the cats?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, who else is going to teach you how to turn into a cat? A dog?
If you find yourself homeless and alone and like cold at night, a cat will find you and like keep you warm, and then another cat and several dozen cats and like engulf you in the cat orb.
You are Peter Panning these kids with cats.
Yeah, I'm into it actually.
Yeah, me too.
And then they take you to Neverland, which is an abandoned warehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that most people don't realize are abandoned. They just think it's used for storage or whatever.
Visually, I do get a lot of Neverland vibes off of the caldera.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just like you just took the surrounding water and put it into the mountain.
Yeah, Captain Hook brought industry to Neverland.
Gross.
What a dick.
What an asshole.
Gross.
At one of the windows, Jack hears a thud and then a scraping as an orange cat with white paws is literally hanging from the windowsill trying to scrape its way up into the window. And it appears to have maybe a silver chain hanging from its mouth. And it's like...
They go let them in. Now, question: is this a cat or a person who is a cat?
So the little orange cat rolls in and kind of rolls down and then drops the chain. It is not a chain of any value. It's just a piece of chain from machinery, and then turns into a little boy of like 10 or 11 whose name is Wesley, and he has fire red hair.
I don't know why I desperately wanted to start calling him Pudge. I don't know why. I don't know why.
So you would imagine he's like your sort of clumsy pudgy boy. He's actually like really lean. He's gonna be a himbo. He's a future himbo is what this young man is. I think Wesley drops the chain from his mouth, turns back into a little boy, looks over. Oh, thanks, Jack. I got something. I think it's good.
Oh yeah, I'll add it to the stuff you keep getting.
All right, I'm gonna go back out then. And then Wesley literally like just bounds back up to the window, turns into a cat, scratch, and then tumbles back out. And that's it. We don't see Wesley again for the rest of the scene.
Yeah, I put the chain in the pile of useless shit Wesley keeps getting on.
Useless for now.
You look up and you see this, like, tall, skinny girl with long, dark hair, like, hanging upside down from the rafters because she hides all of her stuff up there. Did he bring back garbage again?
Yeah.
Does Pudge ever bring back anything?
He's got a mafia nickname.
Why did we let him join us again?
Some of us are bleeding hearts. There's I would say like a similarly lean but otherwise dark hair girl who comes in, like walks in through the door. She's carrying a very ornate comb, what looks like a silver money clip, but there's nothing like in the money clip itself, and a panther pin. And she tosses it on the pile and picks up the chain and looks back at Jack and says, "Truly, this is the best he has to offer, Jack."
Hey, look. He can hang. He's like 10. What are you gonna do?
She rolls her eyes, tosses it back on the pile, and then drops and turns into a cat, kind of like a blue-gray mottled fur, and curls up in a corner and begins grooming herself.
I think that he did wonderful.
I mean, you're wrong, but I love him anyway.
No, I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think that the only way we should be making our living is by trying to take down theirs. I think that maybe we should just live our own lives.
Are you just saying that because you didn't find anything again?
Oh, I don't want to go anywhere near those derricks. I found sunlight. I found fresh water. I found a cool breeze and a nice place for a nap. And maybe we need more of that in life.
I mean, I can't eat a cool breeze.
I think you're spending too much time as a cat, but also I do kind of agree. As you see the girl that's been hanging up in the rafters just like flings her leg off and starts plummeting through the air, but turns into a cat and lands on all fours and then goes back. Whew,
Oh, that
bracing.
visual is so good. Damn it. Oh, that's wonderful.
That's what we're here for.
So, exciting news. I think I might have a lead on where the payroll's coming in this month. Not all of us steal things.
The gray cat's head raises and looks at you.
Oh yeah, Jack walks up and like flips over a board, and then it shows like their current heist plan. Most of their scores have been like sandwiches, but for whatever reason, they've gotten more people. It's getting harder to get enough food for everybody, so I think they're like in a bit of desperation branching out to just straight up stealing money for food.
Ooh, okay.
I think that's what's happening.
I just go over to the map and start marking. It's like, yeah, it's supposed to be like coming in here at this time, and it's going to be moved over here. And also, I happen to catch something about there might be some like underhanded dealings going on here and here, just marking different places around the strut, and a couple that are also like around the caldera. No one knows where exactly I came from. I just kind of showed up.
You do that a lot.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the scene?
I like that as a scene, and I feel all right. So I'm kind of cooking a true name. Lex, can I pitch you something?
Okay.
I feel like Jack's true name is the Cat King with a heavy crown, or some. I'm sure we can make that a little bit prettier, but I'm imagining for some, like I don't want to say for some reason disparagingly, but you have landed into a leadership role. People see you as a leader whether you like it or not, and also you are starting to feel the weight of that responsibility as more kids learn how to become cats, find you all, and then start depending on you.
Famously easy to herd cats.
Yeah.
I was considering the herder of cats with a heavy crown instead.
Ooh, the herder of cats with a heavy crown.
Maybe like the Gutter Cat King.
The Gutter Cat King is
It's a
very
great band name.
provocative. Yeah, I know, right? Gutter Cat King is pretty cool,
Yeah.
and it feels good.
Yeah. It's got some.
Or the Alley Cat King.
I think
I like the
is
Gutter Cat
grimier,
King better.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grimy. That's good. All right, that's an awesome true name.
I like with a heavy crown as the long ass true name too.
Oh yeah, well, and I feel like they're supposed to get more specific, right? So like we add stuff to it. So Gutter Cat King with a heavy crown is that also feels good to say. Gutter Cat King with a heavy crown, like that's.
Got some rhythm to it.
Man, I fully forgot like a thing I wanted to do, which is just like the graffiti they leave around is like coded for each other.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they've got their own little thieves' cat.
Yeah.
Cats can't.
Cat can't.
Alley can't.
Allie.
Allie
No,
can't.
you did it.
Yes!
Alley
Alley
Camp's pretty
can't.
good.
Yes.
That's outstanding. That is our resident, Jack, the Gutter Cat King with a heavy crown.
Thank you for listening to Game Woven. If you like what we're doing, pop on by the review section in your favorite podcasting app and leave us a review. You can also support us over on Patreon. This week we were playing I'm Sorry, Did You Say Street Magic by Caro Assercion, featuring Brianna Jean, ttbenjamin, Lex Olden, Zadkiel Vaske-Huff, and Emily.